Hello and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska.
And I'm your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What up, Khalid?
What up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are doing another book club.
What? We reading?
Yeah, I was really hoping you'd do the thing you did last time where you were like, book club.
I didn't remember what I did last time.
Just do it to make me happy.
Book club?
Thanks, buddy. So, cool thing about today's book club episode, though, is we actually brought on a guest to join us. And with us today to talk about a graphic novel, again, a manga specifically, which we'll get into, is our buddy Jim Tandberg. Jim Tandberg is an artist, a local artist in the Minneapolis area. And he is a manga and anime aficionado, I would say. He's also a good friend of ours. We've known him for years, and we're happy to have him on the podcast. So, Jim, thanks for joining us.
Wow. Thank you, Joe. I don't know what to do with such a... You really talked me up there towards the end, and I was getting worried. Honored to be on the podcast.
Good.
We're happy to have you, buddy.
Yeah.
I like to put a little fire under everyone's feet. Want to talk them up right hand, so they have to live up to what I said right away. So yeah, good
living
luck
up
with that.
to expectations is something I've been doing my entire life. So yeah,
got to be consistent.
The bar couldn't be high enough if we tried.
Guys, I'm so happy that you finally let me on. Ever since Joe talked to me about this podcast, I was pestering him to let me do a couple episodes or whatever. I almost ended our friendship when I found out you guys covered the Xenomorph from Aliens without me.
We haven't done the Xenomorph
We
of
haven't
Aliens.
covered it.
Wait, who did you cover?
You meant The Thing.
Oh, The Thing. That's right.
That's the one you texted me
I had like
afterwards.
a list of 5 things where I was like, it all ends there.
I do want your list of 5 things to be like the thing from Fantastic Four, thing from the Addams Family. Like, I wish that was your list of 5 things. Like, it's just things named
Literal things.
Yeah, and then the last 2 could be Thing 1 and Thing 2 from the Dr. Seuss book.
Khalid, I mean, you literally got, I think those are the 5 things I know. I don't think I know of 5 other things as in a proper noun thing. So we just wrote it out right there. The 5 things.
Yeah, we should do like a remix of that Favorite Thing song.
It's a list of my 5 favorite things. 1 will consume an Arctic research installation.
Jim's not even lying when he says that he was actually mad. Like, he texted me after the thing when he's like, you didn't ask me on, and to be fair, it's been a long time coming, but like, I just need to say, when Jim texted me, he's like, why do you have all of Khalid's friends on? I'm like, I have other friends.
Yeah, I think like 2 of them are my friends. I don't have a lot of friends. Like, let's not get that rumor going.
I have a couple other friends, Jim.
This helps my ego a great deal, Joe, if I believe that it is Khalid that is holding me back and not, you don't hold me to the esteem that I feel like you need to hold me to personally. I mean, Joe, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a bit of an artist.
Did you hear my intro? Were you?
Yeah, I was there for that, actually.
Yeah.
And then I immediately talked about how you talked me up too much. And, well,
what a
egg
back
on my
and forth
face.
this was.
Yeah. Shall we get on with it, I suppose?
Yeah, I
This
guess
is
we
a
should.
roller coaster, yeah.
All right.
All right, so we're talking about the thing today?
The Thing.
Yep.
Oh, so Jim, as you know, we have some guest questions before we pop into what we're talking about. So, are you ready?
Hit me.
All right. All of pop culture. So that means movies, shows, books, graphic novels, mangas, animes, all your things. Favorite monster that you've ever encountered in your consumption of pop culture, and then if it's not the same, what would you consider the scariest one in your opinion?
I have to go with the alien from Alien, like
The Xenomorph.
Yeah, I was drawing 3 things since I've been 3 years old, and they were the Ninja Turtles, mostly Raphael, and Batman, and then the Xenomorph from Aliens, which probably not a great thing that I was 3 years old and obsessed with aliens, but that was being a child with a VHS back in the 90s, out in the middle of the country with nothing else to watch. So yeah, the Xenomorph, just the H.R. Giger's whole design of that thing, its biomechanical nature and all that, it's really seared into my brain as just an effective, iconic creature. Would I say it's the scariest? Of course not, because as we all know, the real monster is man.
True.
Uh,
We suck.
Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to go here and like kind of do it out here, like just off the top of my head. The monster of our subject today is, for me personally, one of the more terrifying monsters in existence. Like it's a pretty haunting concept once you sort of give it the full range of things or whatever, to lay seeds of a little preview of excitement for what's about to come.
Yeah, presumably people have read the title of the episode when they're coming in, so they know what we're probably talking about.
Right, son of a gun.
But yeah, but it's all good. But yeah, no, your expression of how scary this concept was what kind of drew me to this. Is I have never read a manga before this, so I'm excited to jump into it. But before we get into that, our next question that we usually ask guests is like kind of like, what's on your geek card? Like, what do you feel like you're geeky about? So like, what are your big passions? What are you into? I know I said you're into anime or an artist, but if you could like dig a little deeper and like tell us like what makes up Jim?
That is a very wide, varied question, Joseph, that I will have to do a lot of work to try and rein in. If it says anything, I was running out of nerdy interests to occupy my time during this pandemic, the pandemic of the previous year. Mm-hmm. And so I took up model building because I needed something mind-numbingly intricate and that would not work on any sort of social media or dating app website bio and all that. I really needed to. I was almost becoming too attractive to women. And so I started building little model robots. Yep. Speech. So like, yeah, it started out as a kid and I saw Batman the Animated Series, and it was probably the first episode where Batman's fighting Man-Bat and he's like twirling behind a Zeppelin, and I saw that, and after that moment I was like, well, why isn't the rest of life like this? Kind of like, and that more or less ruined me, because from then on I could never be an athlete or really anything. I had to be some kind of storyteller or a person who played in the space of what could possibly be. And so that's taken a lot of different interests and forms of expression over my many years, probably due to my chronic and almost crippling ADHD. But nonetheless, it is drawing, comics, that sort of thing, painting. Then I had a big Magic card period, Magic the Gathering, that not too much into that anymore. In high school, I started, when I saw Cowboy Bebop, I started getting into, it was probably middle school years or so. I started kind of getting into anime and Pokemon, of course. Video games is a big one. If there's something nerdy, I could probably talk to your ear off about it, because beyond all that, perhaps the most nerdy problem with me, and the thing that has strained my relationship with my loved ones and family more than anything, is the fact that I don't just like nerdy things. I also like to know everything I can about nerdy things, which then causes me to want to explain nerdy things, which prior to the recording of this podcast, I don't believe has ever been a positive in my life at any point. But hopefully it'll pay off today.
So we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice job bringing it down. That was a good answer.
I'll be honest, I thought the list would be longer.
Yeah,
it should have been. It is, but we're not getting into it.
You pared it down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Since we did tease a little bit though, Khalid, what are we talking about?
All right, so this week we're going to go to our homeboy Wikipedia because Google just failed me. Sorry, Google. I don't know what's going on today. So today we're talking about the Japanese manga by Junji Ito called Uzumaki. And Uzumaki follows a high school teenager, Kiri Gushima, and her boyfriend, Shuichi Saito, and the citizens of the small, quiet Japanese town of Kuruzo-cho, which translates to Black Vortex Town, I'm just realizing. And it's about the town that is cursed by supernatural events involving spirals.
Khalid, literally reading a line is not realizing that.
I just discovered that, actually. This whole synopsis is from the top of my head, and I just real-time mentally translated the town
real-time
name.
Went deep into my knowledge of Japanese and finally put those kanji together in order to realize.
Jim, I walked into my mind palace. I decided to get my Japanese translator in my mind palace. And I was like, oh, what does that town's name mean real quick while I'm thinking of this synopsis? So yeah, I'm a super genius is what I'm getting at. And that is the plot, Joe.
Boom.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Jim, do you think you could enlighten us a little bit about like what's a manga versus like, I don't know, like just a graphic novel or a comic book that what we might think about?
All right, Joe. Well, what a manga is that it's a comic book written in a place that is not America. So this might come as a surprise to you, specifically Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Manga, like an anime, is just their word for cartoons. Manga is their word for comic books. And there's a whole heap and variety of manga. This one in particular is specifically it says here, I'm looking at the Wikipedia, it is a seinen. I'm gonna apologize to anybody in our audience that speaks Japanese or know how it should be pronounced, because if you were hoping that maybe I might have a good idea how to do this, I've never heard most of these words spoken out loud. It's mostly just read. So seinen is like shonen. If you've heard shonen is like little boys. And then seinen means it's slightly more like for young men. So they're typically like Attack on Titan, I think, is published in specifically a seinen. So kind of like your grim dark, sexy, Full Metal kind of stuff. That's generally seinen, is what that means. And then but this is done by Junji Ito, who I personally would kind of posit him as the Stephen King of horror manga. He has been going at it forever. He is very prolific, and he has some real bangers in his repertoire, this being one of them, the best I have personally encountered.
It was definitely a banger. I will agree with you that. So this specific story, when I was doing my research before this, I saw it began as a serial in the weekly manga magazine Big Comic Spirits from 1998 to 99, and then published in 3 volumes from then. And now you can get in like a big 3-in-1 book, which I believe we all read it recently in the big 3-in-1 volume, which is thick, but it's kind of a breeze to get through. It's really engaging. So why don't we just dive in? Like what did Khalid, I know you're new to this. What do you think of it?
Yeah, you're right. I am new to this. I've never really gotten into mangas or anything like that. I've not even anime really. Like I think the most I've done in that world is Dragon Ball Z, and then like maybe a couple other shows I just am not thinking about. But yeah, like as far as like my first like official introduction to manga specifically, this was awesome. This is a really good story. Thank you, Jim, for suggesting it. It's creepy as hell. The anthology type like model that they go with kind of makes it like really easy to tear through the stories, because you're just like so excited to see like how much weirder they can go with like this like seemingly narrow concept that it's actually a lot more of an elastic concept than I thought when I started it. So
isn't it though? You're just like, well, where is it going next? And then you're like, oh,
dude, I'm just like, what the hell isn't a spiral now? So
basically, yeah. If you all wanted to know, today's monster is brought to you by the shape, the spiral, the naturally occurring mathematical formula.
Yeah, let's just get that out of the way. Like, this is just a town haunted by spirals, which is it's such a fun way to pitch it to people. Like I loaned it to a director friend of mine after I finished it, and that's just I was like, yeah, man, it's about haunted spirals, and he was like, say no more. That sounds awesome. Like it's a very cool pitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in general, like I liked it. It was really fun. Like especially like with Joe, we usually like text like a movie or whatever subject we're talking about. So like this one where it's like so many little stories in it, like it was really fun going back and forth and just like enjoying it in that sense too.
What's really cool is that as far as I understand it, it kind of began as just he was just more or less, he didn't really have a roadmap for it. He just kind of started writing like, hey, I had this idea about this guy's dad who goes nuts and like curls up into a spiral and becomes obsessed with them. And then he wrote a story following that. And then he kind of went all that, which like one of the things that really impresses me is that this comic, this whole story really sticks the landing. It has, I think, at least for as far as horror media goes, I think it has one of the best finishes that I've experienced, where I don't know, is this the sort of podcast where we get into that sort of thing later on? But
Yes, we will get into spoilers. So now is a really great time that if what we're saying up until now has sold you on this, to pause. Just make sure you pause right here. Go buy it, rent it somewhere, read it, and then press play and listen to the rest.
Welcome back.
Yeah, how was it? That was a pretty breezy read, right, guys?
Good stuff.
How about them babies?
Yo, them babies were gnarly, dude.
Oh my god.
That to me was like the moment where I was just like, holy crap, this is like, whoa, like just another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt to me like I feel like he thinks about some like any mundane concept that he can associate with the spiral in some capacity, and then it's almost like he works backward from there. It's like, okay, so how I have these two concepts tied together, like for example, babies and a spiral, or mosquitoes and a spiral. How can I make that pairing as just like, for lack of a better term, as fucked up as possible, as weird as possible?
No, Joe, there is no better term to describe the scenarios
Right?
in this manga.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Like,
What about the girl who just had a
wild.
birthmark that turned into a spiral, and then
that
like
bore a hole through her. Oh my god!
and then just ate herself. She ate herself.
she pretty much did. Like, just yeah.
What? Like, I love it because it's got that Twilight Zone energy, but without any need in trying to ascribe a lesson to most of them. Like, there's a couple of them where it's like, you probably shouldn't be vain or your hair will drain you of your energy, which that's not a lesson as far as I'm concerned. So in general, like, it's just, how about this like creepy, like scary story that would screw you up in and of itself? And like, I was telling Joe the whole time I was reading, I was like when I was earlier on and he'd finished the book already, I was like, why are they staying in this town? And I was like, oh, because it's a spiral. They're sucked in. Duh. And like, he's like,
the
yeah,
whole
you
thing's a spiral.
baby.
Yeah.
You pretty much got it there. Like, I was like, that's so clever. Like, it's just like the scariest town that could be in an X-Files episode.
And I mean, like, the thing is what really showcases for me is that when you don't have a budget, how much cooler a little bit of imagination goes. Like when the fact that he isn't dealing with a budget, he isn't dealing with crews, he's just able to explore each of these concepts. And I mean, I think it's really this comic is a perfect showcase for what you can do with horror for comic, because as I've mentioned this to Joe, I feel like the nature of, like, when you're reading, you know, your brain has to take all these abstract symbols, see them together, group them, and then it like does this frankly incredible thing where it takes those and turns those into sounds and concepts and like things that pretty much encompass the entire of our human experience, you know. But you have to kind of do that work, you know, and versus you don't have that work at all when you're watching a movie and all that kind of stuff, but you have other sorts of restrictions put on a movie. Like, say a movie or video game, you have like things like time actually mean time. You know, those kind of concepts have a bit more concrete effect on the stuff you're watching. In this kind of comic, because you're not reading, but you're also getting images, like with comics, time is flexible. You know, those kind of like events between panels, your brain is doing like, your brain has to put together what happened between one panel to the next panel and all that. And so it's like engaging your imagination, like reading a regular book is, but it's also like at the same time leaving it for your brain to be like visually, just like when you turn the page and you see something, you're just like, whoa, you know, whereas with reading, you constantly have to be doing that. So for me, as I said to Joe, I think like comics, they take the best of the horror ones take on a real like dream logic kind of, or they really match for me, like my scariest dreams. I feel like comics really replicate that well, sort of. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
It does. I think that I think this. You mentioned that to me when I was reading, when I just finished and I texted you that I was done with it. But you mentioned like it has a real dream logic, and I hadn't really thought of that notion when I was reading it myself. But when I was reflecting on it a little bit later, I feel like that makes a lot of sense, because it is. It's dreary, and it's in some ways you feel like the characters are almost sleepwalking through it. Like there isn't a huge sense of urgency, and like Khalid mentioned, like the whole thing's a spiral, so they're all being drawn into it. So no one's like trying to leave, except for like in the beginning a little bit we get that, but like
poor Shuichi,
you know,
he was trying to leave from Jump. Like
he was trying to leave at first, yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah, he saw some shit.
I mean, he did get quite at the preview of what was to come,
yeah,
didn't he?
Yes.
So yeah, like something for me is that like there's a it's like the story and what's going on, it isn't realistic, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But there's all these kind of little details that I read in this story, and a lot of it's evident in a lot of other Ito's work that sort of, I don't know why, but they just make me feel like, oh, that's like they just make me feel like that's like a detail that I feel like I'd hear in a dream. Like the thing that comes back to me is that storyline where her hair starts curling and her hair spirals into curls and all of that, and it just like sticks on end and it's draining her, and then she gets into a fight with another girl whose hair also starts doing that, and the hair starts to like choke each other and attack.
I swear I've seen that like exact scenario on a Cartoon Network show before.
Oh, I this is written in 98. Yeah, after reading a lot of Junji Ito stuff, I noticed how much I think there's at least one reference, I don't know what it was, from like Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy that I'm pretty sure was a Junji Ito reference.
That's
And that kind
awesome.
of stuff. Yeah. But it was just the line at the very last of that issue. It's her hair remained on the telephone pole, displaying itself for several hours. Like just the fact that it's like not, it didn't immediately fall off or it isn't still up there is just like, and it just stayed like that for several hours or whatever. I don't know. That just seems to me like the details that in my dreams that sort of, I'm getting too esoteric. I think I should.
No, that's fine. I think so. Like you're saying too, like it's dreamlike, it's dark, it's dreary, and some of the concepts like really instill like a huge sense of dread. But one thing that's really unique about this is there's like kind of a dark humor to it too, like
absurdity.
Like that line you said, like that's like sort of silly to me. Or like what sticks out to me is towards the end when the town is all kind of consumed by the spiral, and then they're like you could just create
when it
whirlwinds.
goes into like it's like a post-apocalypse for like the last like third.
Yeah,
I
that
loved
part.
that. Yeah,
and there was the whirlwind gangs, like the kids who would blow whirlwinds and like fly on them and just like bug people.
I was just like, that is like such a cool visual too. Just the idea that like spirals have like so overcome this town that you can become like a windsurfer.
Yeah.
Like the laws of physics are like just completely bended over. For me, like I think the absurdity get like that must be with like the spring boy kid who like all right.
The middle portion is very silly. A lot of really silly stories.
So let's go if you mind if I describe this story?
Do it.
So there's a kid, they nickname him Jack in the Box. He has a crush on the main girl. He keeps bugging her and springing out to like surprise her because he feels like that will win her over, which is just aces right there.
Yeah, it tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, it does. Until one time he like sprang out at her, and then what did he get in a car? He got hit by a car and like caught up in the wheel.
Yeah, he got rolled up in the tire. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they bury him, and then she keeps having dreams. And she sees like a thing that was like a package I think he sent to her before he died, and it's a Jack in the Box, of course. And so then she feels like he's haunting her. So then she and her boyfriend go to the graveyard to dig up his body, and then the boyfriend's got like a stake because he's going to stab him, and all that. And they dig up the body, and he just comes bouncing out at them. There's the half of the corpse. It just like starts bouncing, and it just like bounces off all around her, and then. Like at the end, it turns out like at the end, the way they explain it, like, oh, a spring from the car's suspension system had gotten wrapped around his spine and was sewn back up. And like, okay, that explains it. That explains how any of this stuff.
Well, it's also the kind of thing that like we can laugh at it, but like if they actually ever tried to like dramatize that in real life, it would be like so disgusting.
Yes.
Like some of the stuff that they do in these stories is too disgusting for like a visual medium.
Oh, hell yeah.
This has been made into a live action movie, which I think none of us have seen. It's also been 2 video games, and they're going to make an anime they're making an anime that's supposed to debut sometime this year, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So that I heard the anime seems like a lot of people are optimistic about. I think they're taking their time with it, but I've heard I only saw reference to the video games on the Wikipedia. I don't know nothing about that, but live action movie seems to have decent reviews, but I don't know. I don't know, like without like a massive budget, how you'd make some of the imagery in this work.
I think you would almost have to just like focus in on maybe the opening parts of it when it's a little bit more reined in.
You have to have. I mean, I guess you have the benefit of it being an anthology that you could pull certain stories from it and leave out some.
Do you guys have a favorite story, or like is there one that just like sticks with you more?
The one that I don't know if it's my favorite, but the one that like continually sticks out to me is sort of like the back-to-back of the pregnant women and the mosquitoes, and then the babies that are all born from those women who have these like umbilical cords that and placenta that become mushrooms that they end up serving people in the hospital. It's just so weird. But like the moment when like I think Kiri discovers like all the placenta mushrooms in a room and you see like the spiralness of it, and it's just like I was like that was just so strikingly haunting, but also absolutely absurd. Like again, like that absurdity and just weirdness. It's haunting in a sense, like that whole concept, and or like the fact and again, I'm like, we're spoiling a little bit, but like that whole sequence ends with those babies being like, yeah, we want to go back into our moms now. And then they just like put them back in. So messed up. Yeah. But effectively horrifying. Yeah. Absolutely horrifying. I don't know. What about you, Khalid? Is there something that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think that I liked the first snail people story a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I think I retroactively liked it more because it became such a big part of the post-apocalyptic storyline in the like back third. I think for me it comes down to one, like just that the fact that like the process itself is slow. It's not just that it affects slow people, but like you just kind of have to like walk around with a hump on your back and know what's coming. And like, there's nothing you can do about it. But also just conceptually the idea that like they imply at one point that you could have done something about it if you were just a little bit faster. Like somehow the spirals caught up to you and did this to you. And that to me is like the scariest part about it, which is like when it's like almost like, yeah, I don't know, should have been faster. I don't know what to tell you, man. We didn't get turned into snails. Like, what? How do you plan for that? That's so frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. It just, and then yeah, when they end up being like when it ends up being where like time has gotten super wonky, so like they're running out of supplies fast and like resort to cannibalism, and they're like, well, it's not cannibalism if we wait for them to turn completely into snails. So now you're just stuck with a bunch of people that won't let you go away until you turn into a snail to eat. Like it's all too like scary and real while also being just like this like absurd scenario.
The babies are obviously a big one for me. Upon the end of this, honestly, I would have said like after my first read through, probably that first snail story, just as kind of like one. But upon the second read through, I really enjoyed the Jack in the Box one, just because of the like comic absurdity of it, you know, and just I'd kind of forgotten about it, and then just coming back to it, I'm just like, like what the hell are they going with here? But for me, the part of the story that like does stick for me is the part that ends right after where where they get through the whole snail thing, where they try to escape the spiral. They go out into the outskirts of town. Her brother turns into a snail. All the guys, all the men she's trying to help them with are trying to eat her brother, you know, and she's trying to get her brother who's slowly losing his humanity. And then they come back into the town, and like everything after that is something that I just go over and over in my head. And now that I've bought this book, I will probably be rereading chapter 18, The Labyrinth, and where you see all those long houses, which I think like they set those houses up fairly early in the book. So he must have had some idea at least the first third of the book, they set those up. So he must have had some idea that he was going to do something with those, like fairly early on. But just the fact that all the people in town have become just these monstrosities in these houses. And then like I don't even know, like the woman getting caught in there just almost seems that. And the fact that they're just like tossing, people are dying in there, and they just toss these like warped, twisted corpses out, and there's still one human who's like walking around taking care of the corpses, like being like, yeah, we're just helping people out, you know, and he's just acting like none of this has gone as fucking far as it has, and it has just gone like it is absolutely post-apocalyptic, like in the worst way. There's just like no way back. And like the reporter lady that gets like trapped in the houses, like, oh, that's almost the worst death for me personally.
Yeah. I saw somewhere that Junji Ito's initial desire, like when he was kind of conceiving this idea, was he wanted to create a story about strange changes that would like occur to people living in like one of those very long traditional Japanese terraced houses. And apparently he had lived in one of those when he was a child too. So I'm guessing that played a big part in just like his imagination of conceptualizing a lot of it too.
Okay, then yeah. So that sounds like that was
Yeah. Do you guys know much about like why he was drawn to spirals for making this?
Joe, you said that you were taking up the notes on this, so I purposefully avoided doing any work I did not have to do.
So no. Okay. Well, you're lucky because I do work on this. I found an interview with Junji Ito in a magazine, and the title of it's called Into the Spiral. Ooh. But anyway, he says something about, I think this is a quote from him. He says, the spiral pattern is not normally associated with horror fiction. Usually spiral patterns mark characters' cheeks in Japanese comedy cartoons, representing an effect of warmth. However, I thought it could be used in horror if I drew it a different way. Spirals are one of the popular Japanese patterns from a long time ago, but I don't know what the symbol represents. I think spirals might be symbolic of infinity. The different stages of spiral in Uzumaki were definitely inspired from the mysterious novels of H.P. Lovecraft. His expressionism with regard to atmosphere greatly inspires my creative impulse. And that's an end quote.
Can we talk about Junji Ito's art? Because that is
very striking stuff.
It's really cool. So when you say manga, I'm sure everybody sort of gets like the anime, the Pokemon anime, if you're familiar with that, Digimon or whatever, like that kind of look, Naruto. Most manga sort of has that kind of very distinctive style.
Do we say manga or manga?
I think it's actually manga. I don't know, but
Khalid started saying manga.
Yeah.
Thanks, I was trying to say mango, but we are where we are.
I also blame Khalid. So anyway, with manga, like what people kind of associate with the manga style is mostly due to a bunch of, how would you say it? Kind of like cheats that artists use in order to cut down on the amount of time they have to draw things, because like many things in Japan, the creative industries, anime and manga, their schedule is absolutely insane. And for most artists that aren't at the level of like Junji Ito. And so like the style that is indicative of manga, where you have like the pointy chins and the big, huge eyes, that is kind of a compromise that they've had to where the body figures like with that have a lot of like range of motion that's easy to draw from a bunch of different angles. It has a lot of like expressiveness, easy to readability. You can use them like they can be bent comedically or more horrorly or whatever. But like Junji Ito is drawing instead like his characters and all that. They're much more realistic, you know. So which is like just so much more work. A lot of the reason why people kind of draw with those sort of styles is like with not just manga, but like the work of Jack Kirby. Like everybody's like jokes that everybody in Dragon Ball Z has the same face. Like everybody has Goku's face. Like it's, if you read Jack Kirby, the guy who created like the Fantastic Four and Captain America and a bunch of other, like everybody in his comic, every male character has the same face in his comics, you know, like the reason why you kind of do that is just it creates shortcuts. And in order to like draw stuff like Junji Ito draw characters, even though sometimes they look very simple, like he's taking into account the contours, the different contours of people's faces and all that. So it's really cool because you get like growing up in the 90s, that's how most comics looked. Like they really like pushed realism and all that kind of stuff, as I recall. But like because Junji Ito is coming at it from like a Japanese angle, there's like his characters kind of look much more familiar to me than any real manga, but also like also off, which I think really added to the horror for me, or just the strikingness of it, I guess I would say.
For me, I guess it's just like it just looks scary, like some of the stuff. Like I think about the cannibals again in the back half of the story, where just like the way like their eyes are shaded and like the looks to them, there is something really striking about the manga style of art that he takes like full advantage of to make this story really stick with you.
Right. And there are several pages where I would turn to a page and just like my eyes would be instantly drawn to something like later on the page. Like, oh, there's like, for example, like the girl who like the spiral ate her, or she ate herself with her spiral birthmark. Like that panel when that popped up, I was like, oh my god, how are we going to get from where I am now to that? And so it's the art is just so striking, and so I'm like excited to read the next several panels to get to that one.
Yeah. What is it? I believe actually it was friend of the pod, Guillermo del Toro, who actually said that.
Yep, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Maybe just not yet, but
yeah, he doesn't know it, but he's a friend.
We're friendsly. American dad joke. Anyway, I believe he said, I remember reading somewhere that a story by Junji Ito is the only comic or book he's ever that's ever given him a jump scare where he threw the book out of his hands while reading. I think it was Gyo. He said that that's the only comic that's ever given him a jump scare was this one panel in the Junji Ito's book about death stench called Gyo, which is another bizarre out there, pretty good, not as good as this, I would say, but good story.
On the to read list for next.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Junji Ito has a very huge library of works. It's
have you read any other? How many other Junji Ito books have you read?
I've read a few of his kind of collections, so he has a bunch of stories. Honestly, my first introduction to him was somebody, I believe it was Penny Arcade, which is a video game webcomic. In one of the blog posts that the writer writes companioning each comic, he talked about whatever scenario that they were talking about, the video game industry, was like the Amigara Faults by Junji Ito, which then I had to look up, and always support the artist, dear reader, but it is not difficult to find a full version of the Amigara Fault short story on the internet. It is really popular, and this was years ago. Back then it was passed around a lot. And so I discovered that, and that's how I got into him. It's a really cool short little just Twilight Zone-esque episode short stories. So I began getting books of his at the library, and so a bunch of his collected comics. I read, I think, a few volumes of that. I read Tomi, I think is how it's pronounced, which was his first. It's like an anthology series like this, but written way longer, and it's all about this girl that keeps dying and then coming back, and just a lot of body horror in that and that kind of stuff. And that one's actually kind of cool because you get to see literally his skill as an artist improve as in the beginning of the book. He's just started learning how to literally draw things, and then at the end of the book, some of those were written decades later, where he's a master of horror, and so you can just see how his style and all that evolved over Tomi. That's a decent story. Gyo is pretty good. It's about a bunch of fish that start walking out of the ocean in weird mechanical legs, and then suffocating the world, and that's pretty much literally what it is.
Weird, very weird.
Yep.
But
and
sounds awesome.
I think I also began reading a book that I just saw the title was called No Longer Human, which I learned is an adapted work of an actual novel that actually I kind of got into it, and I kind of got creeped out, and I haven't been able to go back into it since.
Let's take that as an endorsement, listeners.
It's messed up. It's not messed up like his other ones. These things are all kind of fun messed up. That one's just, I think it might be a real story, and that just makes it much more messed up to me.
Oh, that seems
but
heavy.
he does it justice, I'm assuming, because I'm a 32 going on 32 years old, and I'm kind of scared to read it.
Wow.
I mean, there are certain books you got to wait till you're 33. That's when you're ready. What did you guys think of the additional stories that didn't make the cut? Or I guess it's really just the additional story is the one about the galaxies, and then the little thing where it's the joke is it's an about the author, but he's also being haunted by spirals.
Mm-hmm. I really like the about the author one. I thought the galaxy one was pretty cool. It seemed like it would have just fit right in the beginning somewhere. I don't necessarily know why it was cut per se, but
I think it was after. I think I believe I read something about that, and he wrote it afterwards, and he hadn't even considered galaxies or something like that. I think that's the story of it. I could be wrong.
It opens up a lot of other doors too. It's there's a whole different realm of possibilities there.
Yeah, but so I think it's kept separate from the rest of them because it wasn't written and published as part of the original like storyline, but I could be wrong on that. If I am, complain to Joe. Make sure that he's corrected.
I'll forward it to Khalid.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
I'll disregard it. Yeah, no, I liked him too. I thought the Galaxy one was good. I think I understood, like, it wouldn't like, I think it would have fit if you really wanted it to, especially like in the middle part when like things are just getting wonkier and wonkier. But because it like became like such a collective feverish madness, I think it would have taken away from the actual collective madness that happens in the third portion, the last third with the post-apocalypse stuff. I think it would have taken away from that if people were already like psychically like threatening to murder each other. A post-apocalypse just feels redundant then.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then, I just thought the About the Author was funny.
It was super fun.
It was nice to have just like an out and out funny thing after all of that, just like dread and pessimism. I think did we kind of exhaustively cover this? Is that because like there's really no? It's not like usual with movies.
We should talk about the ending.
Can like get into like creature. Oh yeah, we could talk about the ending.
I do really want to talk about the ending. I wanted to know your guys' opinion on one thing beforehand. I was thinking about this a lot because I just had it the other day. One of the things, like, I feel like Junji Ito was pretty exhaustive with the types of different spirals. He makes you really realize that spirals are so often in so many things. You know. Mundane things like you're like, oh, there's a spiral. Like I noticed some more, but one thing I was like, curly fries, man, you couldn't have curly fries.
Really? It dawned on you like that?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, they can never have a curly fry.
I don't think those were available in Japan at the time this was published.
Oh man, so if there's a sequel?
Oh, you telling me they didn't have Arby's in Japan? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm telling you that Uzumaki 2. Arby's Boogaloo is going to be a real banger for all the folks out there.
We've got the meats and then some.
We've got the meats.
You can have that one for free, Junji. Yeah, no, curly fries are out, Joe. I'm looking at the coils of my headphones right now, thinking, "Wow, these would murder me in that town." It's such a great
become part of you.
That. Yeah, exactly. I would like turn into a giant set of over-ear headphones.
But yeah, Jim, you were about to say the ending. You had some interesting insights, Jim, on the ending. Did you want to go into that? Like, kind of how you said it was like kind of related to like eldritch horror.
Yes. So personally, I would place this right up with the video game Bloodborne as a man who has read a few H.P. Lovecraft books, mostly some of the big ones. I honestly think that this like, especially the ending of this and the video game Bloodborne, which is entirely unrelated, I don't know why I brought it up, are like my favorite depictions of eldritch horror or just that kind of thing. Mainly because it's not so loaded with racism as much as literally every single H.P. Lovecraft story is.
Right.
The undercurrents of white supremacy are not so relevant. Perhaps that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. As great and influential as they are. But just, yeah, the ending of all this, where you have this town, all these spirals keep happening. They eventually, it becomes this like apocalyptic nightmare where if you just spin around too fast, you cause a whirlwind tornado. And they finally try to get way too late. They try to get out of the town. They are unable to. They enter back in. It has been like time at the outskirts of town moves much slower than time at the inskirts. Inskirts?
I've never heard of it. Like the inskirts. Oh yeah, I'm just hanging out at the inskirts of town. Oh yeah, dead center. just come to the middle.
So the inside of town, apparently it's been way like months or years, I think even. And like all these longhouses that they were building up, because these really old ass rickety longhouses are the only structures that wouldn't get blown down by all the wind and the hurricanes and whatnot. And so those have become just a massive grouping of spirals that leads to the center of the town. And they kind of make it there. And then just that ending, man, like what they find, what this all was about kind of was just so cool.
yeah, you're not like aware of exactly what's going on, but you get just enough to get a good really just a satisfying conclusion, and it's so eerie. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jim. Very evocative of eldritch horror.
And they did that thing where like it's a character trying to like ascribe meaning to everything, but it's like they couldn't possibly know. But I forgave Shuichi a little bit more because I was like, if anybody's gonna have a guess on this, it's gonna be this dude. Like he's the only one that's been suspicious from the jump when nobody else like thought twice about his dad somehow turning himself into a spiral until he died. Like he was the only one that was like, this seems weird. It's probably gonna be a problem. So I respect that he would have like had enough time to theorize about it. And I do love that, like, I love when the story's like, this place just like every couple thousands of years or however long just decides to like screw with the people that inhabit it, and it does such a thorough job that nobody knows what happened to them when it's all said and done. It's a cool narrative device of just like the cyclical nature of time, where it doesn't really matter how advanced. Like I can't think of anything this town could have done to survive this. Like there's no technological advancement. This could have been the year 3020, and this happens to that town, and they'd still be screwed. You know, like
our cyber phones are really showing a lot of techno spirals. Could this mean anything bad for us on our, what is the name of this out? Moon Kozucho? Moon, I can't find the name of it.
Caruso Chow?
Yeah, Moon Caruso. Neo Caruso Chow. That's probably what it'd be.
Yeah, and remember, I translated the meaning of the town earlier. It's a black vortex. I figured that one out in real time. So yeah, like I don't know, like irrespective of time, like being in a town called the Black Vortex when it decides to like drive everyone insane to the point of like killing each other or being turned into like horrible monstrosities. Yeah, that's just always scary. That's just always a lose-lose for the citizens.
Yeah, just the idea of a cannibal or a alien city that is like, or it's a predator, you know, and it just like lures a bunch of little ants, us in, and then it lets the population build to a certain point, and then it just eats them up and grows itself, and then
it like terraforms itself. Like that's like what we see by the end of it. Like it literally like reconfigures the entire town with the row houses to make like a giant maze. That's insane. That's fascinating.
Speaking of mazes, Khalid.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we go.
I've known a bear or two to get caught in a maze. So
two? You can think of two bears that have been caught in mazes?
We'll go with two. I'm very, 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 very excited to see what you come up with and how you measure up the concept of the spiral curse. This monster's not a physical monster. This monster's a concept. How does this concept stack up to your four bears test?
I guess conceptually, if you're asking me, I'm still more scared of the immediate threat of four bears than I am of the spirals. I guess just because like there's the promise of you could somehow survive the four bears. It's such a guarantee you're screwed in the town with the ghost spirals that it ceases to be a threat anymore. I guess like the only suspense is like what fucked up thing is gonna like come for me. And with four bears, the threat is just as reasonable as, all right, I gotta just like steer clear of those four bears. So like if you're just asking me on that level, I would always take the four bears. But that's not what the four bears test is. The four bears test, if this is your first time listening, is what would happen if you replaced the titular monster with four bears. Is the threat the same? Is it different? And it's a goofy way of just asking about like the merits of the monster in and of itself. As you mentioned,
virtually
Joe,
unchanged.
Honestly, it's a pretty redundant story at that point. No, but Joe, as you mentioned, this isn't a monster in the conventional sense that we usually talk about. It's a concept. And I don't know, like there's nothing in the anthology where you could replace what the spirals do to you that could be achieved by four bears. Is there? There isn't, right? Like there's no story that there just isn't. Like I'm really searching my brain trying to think of like what four bears could do that could come close to any of this, and it just doesn't exist. So it fails in like it just fails in the way that it would be like the wrong answer to a riddle, you know. I don't know what else.
I'm a little bit confused by your prior statement that the concept that the universe has conspired to sacrifice you to an unknown concept and all of that, and that it is intrinsic into the world you live in, is somehow less horrifying than the fact that you could be attacked by four bears but stand a chance of getting away. Am I getting this right, that you're actually arguing that the former is not as terrifying as the latter is to you?
Jim, I am a black refugee that just came out of Trump's America, 4 years of it. Telling me that powers that are far greater than me are conspiring to bring me down is passe at this point. Yeah, I think you can't do the four. This is the first thing that broke the four bears test. I don't know what to say.
Yes,
I want so badly to be like cheeky and be like, well, four bears could like make a twister or something, but like even as a joke, it just doesn't make sense. So
wait a second, what if you start twirling around and you turn into four bears? Like
I just feel like in those like movies about astronauts when you've got like the command center full of like scientists like with like charts and stuff trying to come up with solutions. Like I'm that guy with the four bears test, just like throwing my pencil up like I can't do it. I can't. It's broken. They're stuck on Mars. So yeah, fine. The result of this test is it's broken. It broke the four bears test. That's my answer. I hate you, Jim.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I wish it was actually my goal to come onto this and in my first go around try and break Khalid's method of judging a monster's horror, but no, that's just icing on the cake. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here.
I just like being involved in things.
It's an honor to be invited.
The real four bears were the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. I also would never like subject four bears to like the stuff that goes on in that town. I would fear for the bears. So
definite animal cruelty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Khalid, if you were in this town, and you were maybe realizing that the spiral was haunting you, how would you try to survive? Would you fight your way out of it or flirt your way out of it? Although you'd fail both times, but what would you try?
I guess if I'm gonna fail either way, I'm going to fight it. There's nothing to flirt with. Like, if anything, it would just like turn my flirtatiousness into like some like obscure lesson that just like results in body horror. That was like the entire, like for me, the middle part was lagging in that way. And then like, it all just felt like weird lessons. Like you walk too slow, you're going to be a snail. You jump out and surprise people, you're going to be a jack in the box. Like, I don't even want to know what the lesson is for trying to flirt with the demon spirit that like turns the town into what it does. I don't want to be a moral of the story, like deformity. So in that instance, I think I would just have to fight it. What about you guys?
I have literally not considered trying to fight or flirt with the spiral at all before this exact moment. I'm going to have to go with, look, I think if anything is learned in my life, it's that anything that's physically demanding of me is not going to be exceptional. And I, to be honest with you, have not had that much more success in the field of love than on any sort of football field or other sort of field, but or the field of combat. But I'd have to try and flirt with it. I just want to see where it goes. It probably goes around and around and then ends at a point in the middle. But yeah, that'd be my instinct. Yep.
I'm with you, Jim. Khalid, when you're describing like the attempt to flirt with it becoming immoral, like I'm just curious how that's going to turn out. Like, yeah, I mean, we're doomed anyway. Like, I want to see that story.
Yeah, I would like my life to be an example to others.
You guys are just gonna be like turned into like pinwheels or something. Like it's not gonna be fun.
But Khalid, what if you try to fight it and it's like, hey, you shouldn't try to fight spirals, and then the same kind of thing happens to you?
You're also immoral then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be immoral for fighting it than like for foolhardily thinking I could charm it.
It just seems contrary to the spirit of the bit, but okay.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't commit to the bit. But no, I want a warrior's death if this thing is taking me either way.
I would like to say that I want a warrior's death, but I also know I don't have any expectation for that.
It would like turn me into a sousaphone or a tuba. That's what it would do.
I would what character if we were like in a stereotypical horror movie? This is entirely off topic and nothing to anyway, but I'm just curious about this. If you were in a horror movie, like which character would you be? You know, like the kind of stereotypical tropes of like
the
teen
hot
victims
virgin.
and all that. The hot virgin.
No, I feel like who's the guy? Remember the Scream movies? That the Jamie Kennedy character, the one who like knows what's going on. Like that's not really a trope, but I feel like that's kind of Khalid.
That's kind of a trope. They a trope enough that they reference it with the stoner character in.
Joe, I said the hot virgin. You didn't have to like pick a specific one.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, there was Jamie Kennedy was in that was Jamie Kennedy like from the Jamie Kennedy
yeah, in
experience?
Scream, yeah.
Holy
he was the one who like knew all the horror movie tropes and kept saying like, "We're in a horror movie. This is what's going to happen next."
Yeah, he was the fourth wall.
Yeah.
See, for me, I think that I would be the immigrant guy who just so happens to have come from a village where they have an exact theory about like, the people of Dayton, Minnesota. They tell of this Uzumaki spiral. It's a Japanese spiral.
I love thinking that Dayton's just full of Andy Kaufman impressionists.
Thank you very much.
It's part of the heritage.
Yeah, that's the country Andy Kaufman's from. Dayton, Minnesota.
Dayton, Minnesota. It's just home of Andy Kaufman.
What about you, Joe? What character would you be then? I'm the hot Jamie Kennedy type.
I don't know. Yeah.
Joe, you can go ahead, go with your heart. Say the final girl, Joe. I'd let you get away with it. You can
think
say
I'd be the final girl?
You'd be a good final girl.
I guess I could be a final girl.
Yeah, you have like an easygoing personality. You get along with a bunch of people. You don't really stick out, so like you wouldn't be. That was not intended to be as big a burn as it is.
Wow.
That was sorry.
Jimmy, you'd be what would you be? Would you be the red herring or just the guy that did it?
Oh, the red herring for sure. I don't think I could follow through with not from like I couldn't be a murderless asshole, but just the trouble of actually having to be the person. I would just be the jackass that like everybody hates anyway and secretly wants to be. That's what I've been most of my life.
You're just the moody teen artist that's like drawing all of them dead, and they're just like, it's clearly you, dude. Like you clearly wish ill upon us.
Just because I'm drawing all of you in the exact way that you show up dying, you think it's me? God.
Yeah, that's you for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
you'd also have you'd have a lot of ill-timed like quips too, where you'd like try to make a joke at somebody, like, oh, like you'd probably make a joke like after somebody died.
You mean like where I just said that, Joe, you don't really stick out, and without even thinking about it. And
wow, good circle back. Good circle back.
It just means that your death would be like the gnarliest.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would get the raw one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Scooby-Doo cartoon, the one where they're all kids, the pup named Scooby-Doo, and how there was the bad guy, not the bad guy, but the bully kid whose name was literally Red Herring?
That's where I learned the term red herring.
Me too. Yeah. That's how I learned it.
Fred hated that dude.
I know, he always thought it was him.
He hated it. That was like so funny to me.
I learned it from a proper media, aka the Great Muppet Caper.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
I've yet to see a full Muppet picture moving.
We've had conversations about this before.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I get it. It's like edgy.
Caper.
It's edgy Sesame Street. I get it.
No, Khalid. It was like prior to Sesame Street. It was like proto Sesame Street. It's also like proto internet. Like nobody was making meta commentary on the movie themselves as they were making it. Like in 1970, whatever. That's what the Muppets were. They were constantly breaking the fourth wall, but they had like weird rules about breaking the fourth wall. Like you can't say that they're they can constantly point out how like this is a movie trope, this is fake, or do that, but you also can't break the fact that they're puppets, so they all have to refer to themselves as if they're the animals they're supposed to be. But like that's just brilliance. All right, I love that kind of stuff. Like it's great. No, it's a vaudeville show up. It's Khalid, I'm so disappointed. I can't believe that you've missed out on the Muppets. You're
Which
gonna love
one's
them.
Snuffleupagus?
Well, he's in Sesame Street.
Which one's the Snuffleupagus of that world?
Or what do you like? Wouldn't the Snuffleupagus be the Snuffleupagus of the Muppet world?
They're in the same universe, Khalid.
Yeah.
Sesame Street and Muppets exist in the same universe.
Kermit in the early years of Sesame Street, Kermit was a regular, like he would be a correspondent doing news segments and the like.
And Big Bird's in the first Muppet movie.
He is, yeah, I remember that now.
Wow. Okay, shared universe. I can get into that. All right.
Yeah, so
it's the first shared universe.
Yeah, now you're in. We should probably wrap it up. Yeah, probably. Our final segment of the episode is our now famed
oh yeah,
what the fandom? What?
That's the new.
We didn't discuss this at all. For those of you listening at home,
what'd you think of that, Khalid?
I'm taken aback. That's my reaction.
I don't like it. I'm never gonna do it again. I hated it.
Joe.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it, and it's been the first time I've been approved of this podcast in any form whatsoever. You don't you dare get rid of that.
I like it. You just need to add a guitar riff to it. Like I heard it irrespective of any other audio. So like if there was a sick guitar riff to it, I would have been like face melted, jaw dropped, like impressed.
Joe, what about this? Like what the fandom? Like
normally I do a Jerry Seinfeld voice, and I was starting to get sick of it, so I had to change it up. So. Anyway, what the fandom is, we all go around and share just like what we're currently into at this moment, what you're watching, reading, listening to, anything like that. That doesn't have to have anything to do with monsters, doesn't have to be like your passion or your geek card stuff, just what you're into. Khalid, why don't you tell me what the fandom with you?
So in honor of the fact that we are discussing an art-like medium, I thought that I would make my fandom an artist, and I actually just sent you both the Etsy link in the group text. But it's this it's a Etsy shopping page for an artist named Kevin Schmidt. So the whole name is The Art of Kevin Schmidt. If you search that on Etsy, he does like a lot of cool, like I think it's watercolor. Jim, if you see the link, like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like watercolors. But it's what he does is like scenes from pop culture, and he has this like subsection of bathroom art. So it's like famous scenes in movies that took place in bathrooms. And I have two of them. I have one from the movie Friday, where if you've seen it, Ice Cube's character is talking to his dad, played by the late John Witherspoon. And John Witherspoon is like taking the nastiest shit while he's like giving his son a lecture. And like Ice Cube's got like his shirt over his nose to like protect himself from the smell. And it's just like that scene hanging in on my bathroom wall. And it's like a really cool like way to decorate your bathroom while still like acknowledging you're in a bathroom. So like you don't have to be like so like real like bougie about it, and like no, like what's a picture of a flower doing in a bathroom? That's where you poop, like you should be acknowledging that with your bathroom art, in my opinion. So there's other cool ones like the Tyrannosaurus when he sees the dude on the toilet in Jurassic Park, like he recreated that as well. And it's just really well done art. He also does just like straight up like scenes like from Seinfeld and stuff like that are like iconic, and it's really good art. So if you like art, and I'm hoping you do if you're listening to the manga episode where we talked up the art of Junji Ito, this is also something you might be into. So that's my what the fandom this week.
Cool. I'm looking at it right now. They are really cool.
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking at the one that's high class art, Khalid.
Thank you. What about you, Joe?
What the fandom with me? I have lately I've been kind of out of the loop with like watching shows and movies and kind of still reading the same books I've been talking about already. But one thing that's kind of a new thing that I thought was kind of fun to talk about is I got to interview Dr. Ethan Siegel, who is a physicist. I got to interview him for a Twin Cities Geek article I'm working on about a new paper that came out with regards to like warp drive technology and faster than light travel. There's some new findings that came out, or theoretical findings, that there's a theoretical particle that could be used in place of antimatter, or a negative mass to fuel a theoretical warp drive. It's all crazy physics stuff, and I got to interview him and get into the like minute details of the science of it. And I don't quite understand it, but I'm currently transcribing the interview for the article. But super interesting. But that dude, Ethan Siegel, wrote a book called Treknology, where he details like tons of books or tons of tech that's in Star Trek, and he talks about like the real science that could support that technology, or the real science that inspired that technology, or the real science that has come from that technology, like the communicators back in the 60s, and how that's kind of transcended into our own culture. But fascinating interview. I'm really excited to get the article out. I will have to share it on our socials when it's out, but I think it'll be a fun one. So that is my What the Fandom today. How about you, Jim?
I have taken a break I've been doing a lot of art lately, so I haven't been up on the like Media Blitz, but I've mostly just watched like animation this year. I don't know why, but I sometimes just kind of prefer it, just because it always offers something for me to see, even if it's not a great show necessarily. But I've taken a break from that and started watching Ted Lasso with my sister over the past 3 days. And good golly, is that show not an absolute both riot and just a really, really enjoyable program. It's Jason Sudeikis. He plays. Have you guys heard of this at all? Or
Yeah, it was a previous recommendation on here, actually.
Oh wow! Well, then I won't say too much about it, because it's just yeah, it's just really good. It's really positive, which is something that everybody sort of needs after the time we've been having lately. But also, it is not naive. It's not like, it's very realistic about its kind of just portrayal of just trying to be a fucking decent human being, in England of all places. And yeah, so I've been really enjoying that. And then Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I just bought it. I just played it. I didn't think I'd say this about a system that also has Super Mario Odyssey on it, but I think it's my favorite platformer on the Nintendo Switch. Like, I really dug the heck out of that game. That's pretty much it for me. Ted Lasso and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Cool. Well, Jim, thanks for joining us. Is there I know that you've been doing a lot of art, like you said. Is there a place where you display your art that any listeners could go see?
So I kind of been going by the tagline Tequila Gundam. And I am Tequila Gundam 29 on Twitter. You can follow me. I'm not great at the whole social media thing, but I am trying to get better at that. I've just started up a Tumblr too, under the same name, Tequila Gundam 29, and I'm hopefully going to be. I'm writing actually a horror comic, writing and drawing one, as not literally as we speak, but once we're done speaking, I will continue that, and hopefully within the next month or two, I will be able to start showing some of that off, and all of that. Then you guys can do an episode and judge the hell out of my monster.
Yeah. Will Khalid fight or flirt with it?
Khalid, you're gonna want to fight this one.
I don't know. Let's see how cute you make it.
Yeah, very moe. So yeah, Tequila Gundam 29 on Twitter or on Instagram. I think it's Jimstagram. I forget. I'm sorry. With time, I hopefully will be much better at this sort of thing. But I am not at the moment at promoting myself. But yes, any questions or commissions, and you like watercolor art, and you like weird monster shit and like that kind of stuff, I would be happy and to oblige you. Yeah. More than happy.
I'll put links to your social pages in the show notes too. So if anyone wants to find it, they can go there.
That would be lovely, Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thanks, Jim. Well, you will definitely be back on the show sometime. So listeners can enjoy or avoid that episode in the future as they so desire.
I think we all know which one they're going to go with.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was a blast. No, seriously, it was fun. I'm glad you brought this book to us. It was I don't know if I would have read it otherwise, but your recommendation was a good one, and it was definitely a cool conversation. So thank you.
No, thank you guys. as soon as you talked about this podcast, I was like, that sounds like a hoot, and I'm a big fan of it. Haven't listened to every episode because you guys have weirdly enough done mostly obscure monsters that I somehow have slipped through my radar too. So I'm like,
Wow.
shoot, I got to see this before. Yeah, I was impressed by how obscure you guys.
That's
were
all
going.
Joe.
Real
He loves a good
street
deep
cred.
cut.
Yep.
Got to do deep cuts, yeah.
I have to give it to you, and just a blast. And just thank you for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
For sure.
Yeah, man, thank you.
And for those of you listening, please, I saw that we got a big uptick of listeners in the last episode. So if any of those people stuck around, be sure to follow Frankenstein's podcast on Facebook and Twitter. We're Frankenpod. We're definitely not an L Franken podcast, but that's our handle. Yet we haven't yet to go there, but then be sure to try to subscribe so you get all our episodes. Rate and review us is really kind. We've got a couple nice reviews which are nice, but if you give us a 5-star rating and write a nice review, we will read it on our next episode. But yeah, that'll help us a ton. Khalid, I'll leave it with you.
Yeah, do we know what we're doing for the next episode yet? I know we've got like a loose schedule.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Star Wars stuff.
Star Wars. We're gonna do something about Star Wars on our next episode. So, with that big descriptor, just good luck. Just take in all 50 plus years of Star Wars before next episode. But yeah, other than that, guys, you know the dealio. Just be kind and creep it easy.